Welcome back. This time we're going to look at Path to the Warrior Art of Fighting 3 for the Neo Geo. Came out 1996, a little bit before King of Fighters, I believe. It's rated at 298 megs, produced and developed by SNK. This time the story focuses on Robert rather than Robert and Rio. This time Robert is going to a fictional town in Mexico called, I think it's Green Hill or Grass Hill, to track down his friend Freya, and she's trying to track down an individual called Weiler, who is trying to finish this elixir, which has a Jekyll and Hyde effect to it. So, yeah. And in the meantime, you have Rio trying to bring Robert's behind home. Also, you have, on the insistence of Robert's father, a Garcia bodyguard known as Carmen Cole, bring him home from this foolish adventure. And yeah, so basically that's kind of where the story revolves around and all. And the majority of the characters in the game are fresh and brand new. Now, whether you like them, that's neither here nor there. The only returning ones, of course, is Robert and Rio. No Yuri, no, everybody is different. Now, some have connections with the Art of Fighting, kind of, universe or series, such as Kasumi Todo, who's come back for revenge for the defeat of her father, etc. So let's just get into it. Put it easy because just move through the game. Exit. I don't know if there's blood in here. Let me see if there's a cheat database. No. Okay. Exit, and let's start. Okay. Basically, you have your punch, your kick. You have kind of like a side step where somebody throws a move at you, and you do it in a certain, and the timing's right, you can actually have them trip up. You also have a Raz button from the previous games, and the gameplay is pretty much the same as it's been for the most part, but not too much different. You also have a launch in the air type of attack, kind of similar to like an Alpha or like a Tekken type of move that will be able to launch them up in the air. You can do a combo, things of that nature. Now, the AES version, which I'm playing on right now, has more involved with the story of Robert and Freya. Now, from the MVS version, it didn't have too much of that because it was basically trying to just get into the game. So that's why it might seem a little different between the versions and stuff, because the home version is a bit more focused on the story, whereas in arcade, a lot of times you're not really concerned too much on the story. You just want to get into the play. Also, you have some neat stuff, like, besides, like I said, launching somebody in the air, you can kick them on the ground when they're down, which is actually pretty cool. So, if I can demonstrate, well, I was, like that, which is actually really cool, so you can score some extra hits. All the moves are pretty much there. They have their super desperations. They have, the, the regular special moves. Everything that they had previous, it's just there. As you see, it's still present. Now, gameplay-wise, like I was talking before, you have the launches. Let's say like that. You can juggle them. Very much kind of sort of like an Alpha / Tekken type of thing, where you just, can just keep going. If you know how to combo correctly, you can just set them up. And you have different type of trips, as you see. One trip is where you actually literally knock them down to the ground, and the other one is just basically they fall flat on their ass. And the thing is, they can get back up, though. So, it's pretty interesting. It's a different dynamic to the gameplay. Also, like if I'd mentioned before, that the moves are much smoother and easier to get out, because in the previous games, that was my biggest issue, was control. Here the game is controls fairly well. The jumping seems a bit heavy on the characters, maybe to give it the realism, but the thing is that it doesn't really detract from the game per se. And like I said, the character roster is completely different, like you have here Wanko-san. Now, people might not really kind of like the new characters because they're not exactly interesting as Art of Fighting 2. Art of Fighting 2 had a pretty cool cast of characters, and, it was just had a lot of pizzazz to it. Now, this game's graphics and all stand out to a lot of people because they use the motion capture, and they're highly detailed, especially for large sprites. So the thing is, like I said, they do move fluid, and it is pretty nice to look at, even by today's standards. And even in 1996, it pretty much stood out. Because especially at the Aztec temple with the waterfalls and the transparency of the water was pretty cool. So yeah, sound wise, just the basics. You know, your grunts, your groans. You know, your music. A lot of jazzy, a lot of guitar, a lot of Latin, you know, infused music because. Hence, you know, you're going through Mexico, so you're going to have a bit of that, you know, Latin flair to the game. So, which applies. But the thing is that it's one of those games where you have to just try it out. I always recommend this game as really as the beginning, because a lot of times the Art of Fighting series is one of those series that is very... it's not very approachable to most gamers because of how difficult the AI is, and especially the second game is really ridiculous. And I don't think anybody can debate that. But the thing is that it's still an approachable game, and it does have the best control in the series. So if I was going to tell somebody to start, this is where I would. Also, if you notice with the graphics, when you're in the shade, and how you move out, it has that little graphical effect, which is actually really nice. A lot of attention to detail. It's pretty cool. So, should you get the game? Well, I mean, the thing is that if you have an AES, well, good luck to that, because you know that's expensive. MVS, I don't think it's really that expensive, to be honest with you. I got mine last time, was maybe about $50. It's worth going for, definitely. AES, unless you got really the money to burn, it's kind of hard to say. I got mine about, I don't know, about a year or so ago. So the thing is that it's a little tougher to make that decision. But you can find this game on the compilations, especially with the Art of Fighting anthology. It's on there, and it's definitely worth checking out. And of course, the virtual consoles and the PSN this, the PSN that, and all that. It's actually really... cool. It's a really good game. But, here's the but part. Do I choose this over Art of Fighting 2? Yes and no. As far as control and gameplay, yeah, this is way superior. But, as far as pizzazz, the cast of characters, overall style, Art of Fighting 2 wins hands down. That's just my opinion. In my opinion alone. I mean, the thing is that I think it's just a great game, but it's just missing something. It's just too barren. There's not enough going on here like in the second game. The second game just had so much going for it. Even though the control was kind of shitty, it was still such a fun game. The music, everything involved and all was just really outstanding. And it just had so much personality that it's not even crazy. And here, it has some personality, but it just seems that it's just trying to be too real. And sometimes when you're trying to be too real, it just misses something. And it doesn't mean it's a bad game, but, like I said, it just loses something from the translation and all. And I can't fault SNK for that, because SNK was trying to do something different and breathe life into the series. And trying to make it a bit more approachable, because a lot of people complained how ridiculously hard the game is. And the AI is a bit easier. I'm not saying... comparatively, it is a lot easier to get through this game. But, like I said, the charm is what I go for. And the game lacks a little bit of that. Not saying it's a bad one, but it just lacks it. But, should you check it out? Absolutely. I think it's the more approachable in the series. And it's... I think a timeless classic because the graphics, they don't get old, they still look really good. And I think it's just an outstanding fighting game. True, the mechanics are way different than Street Fighter, and it'll be a little harder to get into than a Street Fighter type of game. But once you get a handle of the controls and just the way it plays, I think you'll really, really enjoy the game, and you'll have a good time with it. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit more gameplay so you can see a little bit of sights and stuff. Like right here is Cinco de Mayo, where you meet Kasumi, and she's just, I don't know, she's going to try to fuck shit up. So I'm going to leave it at that. Alright, take care. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. You take care.